Get out the way!
Bill Clinton is a rapist, Infowars.com.
Bill Clinton is a rapist!
Bill Clinton is a rapist, Infowars.com, Infowars.com. Bill Clinton's a rapist.
The New World Order sends its regards.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Hey y'all, it is April the 18th, 2019, and I wanted to cut a brief segment with y'all in regards to, that's right, Chick-Fil-A in San Antonio and the airport. All right. On first impression, you might very well say, who cares? Who could possibly care? That was also my reaction when I first heard of the Chick-Fil-A catastrophe that took place in regards to the San Antonio airport. This was approximately 3 weeks ago when all of the confusion started. All right. Basically, if you haven't heard, I can't blame you, because more than half of the people who live in San Antonio have never heard of what we're talking about. All right. So Chick-fil-A, quote unquote, gets banned from the San Antonio airport, aka they lost out on a contract. Food establishments and all other type of establishments lose out on contracts all the time. All right. So it doesn't strike me as a big deal, probably didn't strike you as a big deal. Unfortunately, from what I've been seeing, I've been shown over and over and over again on the internet that it's a big deal to some people, right? And they go on and on about religious freedom and this and that. I mean, they've gone to the capital of Texas and had a Save Chick-fil-A Day.
Well, I was just checking my phone, and just an encouragement, go to your social media right now, hashtag Save Chick-fil-A. Today is Save Chick-fil-A Day. Go to your local restaurant. There's still time. You can come to the Capitol. The hearing has not started. You can come sign in. We'll walk you through the process. This is your Texas Capitol. This is your state, so you can support religious freedom to make it clear that local governments cannot punish and target religious entities, Christian entities like Chick-fil-A, and ban them from opening up stores like they did in the San Antonio government. And
all right, in which they talked on and on about religious freedom. Now, although I agree with them about the whole religion thing, I happen to be of that sort of religion, if you will. I totally disagree on the grandstanding, on even talking about this situation for more than one day probably, right? But it goes on and on and on, and I don't know where it stops. But I can tell you it goes on and on and on. If you haven't heard about this situation, actually it becomes more and more bizarre, because not only has San Antonio done something about the Chick-fil-A at the airport, which doesn't hardly make any sense because there's 20 plus Chick-fil-A's in San Antonio. If you just Google it, we have Chick-fil-A's coming out of our ears. All right. Not only is it San Antonio, but from what I understand, Buffalo, New York, shortly thereafter, their airport made a stand against Chick-fil-A.
There is one particularly striking a nerve, and this one in the airport. Here's why. The NFTA is a state entity. The airport is a taxpayer-funded public facility. Chick-fil-A, as we know, is a company that's been accused of anti-LGBT behavior for years, which is why Democratic...
And if you can believe it, San Jose, California has an airport. I don't know. I'm not sure if they've allowed Chick-fil-A at the airport.
Good evening. I'm Veronica Dela Cruz.
I'm Ken Bassita. We begin with the dispute over that new Chick-fil-A inside the Mineta San Jose International Airport. IP's Len Ramirez is there now with what city officials are admitting tonight. Len?
Oh, I think they have allowed Chick-fil-A at the airport, but that's also a big controversy. They started putting up rainbow flags and transgender flags, and I'm not making that up.
Because Mineta San Jose is a publicly owned place and the airport has a non-discrimination policy, Ken Yeager wants to put up rainbow flags near the Chick-fil-A entrance.
Chick-fil-A is really good business, but as far as being against gay, it doesn't work like that in San Jose.
Close to the Chick-fil-A, as though the Chick-fil-A even cares. They probably don't. All right, it's become a whole big thing. It's very contrived. Chick-fil-A against the LGBT community, LGBTQPIA. All right, here's the thing. What you have to know for sure is that all sort of LGBTQs go to all sort of Chick-fil-A's across the nation every single day. They're never refused service at all. All right, there is no problem there. All right, so with that being said, I wanted to analyze this whole situation. All right, this problem never needed to be a problem. Pretty much San Antonio's city council, who is in charge of these sort of decisions, all they needed to say was, we're not going to have a Chick-fil-A at the airport. All right, you have a Mayor Ron Nirenberg. For all that we disagree with, we actually happen to agree, and in that he explained.
Comfortable with Chick-fil-A. And I would ask you, have you ever tried to buy waffle fries on a Sunday? They're closed. 15% of sales generated in the airport come on a Sunday.
To put our beliefs like that at the last second, materially change your contract, was dead wrong.
Well, Chick-fil-A, believe it or not, they're not open Sundays. They will not open Sundays for nothing. All right, and as it turns out, the airport is open on Sundays, and in fact, they do a lot of business on Sundays, as you can imagine. So that right there would have ended the situation. There would have been no controversy. There would have been nothing in the newspaper, any of the newspapers. All right. The problem began when a certain city councilman by the name of, I believe, Robert C. Trevino came in and said, you know, we just can't have Chick-fil-A at the airport. We just can't have it because our LGBTQPIA community.
Something I cannot support. The heart of the LGBTQ community is in District 1, and the community has come together to voice its disapproval of this proposal because it includes a company with a legacy of anti-LGBTQ behavior.
Well, it won't allow for it, all right? We just can't have it. We can't have the intolerance and the hatred espoused by Chick-fil-A, who, I don't have to tell you, is an amazing restaurant, all right? That is undebatable. All right, so that is when the controversy first began, and it never had to begin, all right? So it makes you wonder. And then when you think about the Buffalo, New York airport, and you also consider the San Jose, California airport, you start to realize that something's really amiss here. How come it's airports and nowhere else that's banning these Chick-fil-A's? I sat and I thought about it for a while. The only thing that really could make sense in my head, all right, after analyzing this whole situation, and I can't blame them for doing it, is Chick-fil-A, it seems, has gotten to city councils across the nation, all right? What they're doing, perhaps a representative from Chick-fil-A had approached a Robert C. Trevino and said, look, we want you to say this stuff. It's going to get people's feathers in a ruffle. And what it's going to do is provide us with amazing publicity all over the place. It's going to be all over the news. Chick-fil-A is going to be everywhere you look. All right, if you just say you're banning us because of LGBTQ, even though we don't even need to be in the airports. Like I said, 20 plus Chick-fil-A's in San Antonio alone. There is a Chick-fil-A 1.7 miles from the airport. If you arrived at the airport and let's say it was a changeover, you had to go to another city, well, you call Uber Eats. They will deliver you a Chick-fil-A just as fast as you can imagine, all right, to the airport probably. So this become a situation for no reason. Like I said, Chick-fil-A, the only thing that makes sense in my mind is that they approached Robert C. Trevino and said, hey, we'll give you a little bit of money. Just say some gibberish during your city council and we'll get publicity like nobody's business. All right. all over the place. Meanwhile, you got religious leaders talking about religious freedom. You got LGBTQ lobbyists, not regular people, but lobbyists, and they're arguing against San Antonio. So they're arguing against each other. All right, it's a big confrontation, if you will. Meanwhile, the only winner out of this whole situation is Chick-fil-A, and yeah, they win big. They win every time. It's like the Donald Trump of fast food restaurants. All right, so that's it for right now, and I'll holler at y'all later. We're gonna have some big things developing over the weekend and stuff. I have some big announcements actually in regards to next week, so I appreciate y'all, and I'll holler at y'all, and I thank y'all. It's April the 18th, 2019. This is the San Antonio branch of Infowars.com. Go and buy some protein bars. I just bought some today. I'm waiting for them in the mail. I love their protein bars. I mean, I feel naked without them, especially the peanut butter. And y'all know how I like peanut butter. I'll holler at y'all, and I appreciate y'all.
Robert headed to University Hospital. On the way, dropping off their 2 older daughters with a family. Tuesday night, Fallon Griffin began intense contractions, so she and her hubby Robert headed to University Hospital. On the way, dropping off their 2 older daughters with a family friend. They met in the parking lot of the Chick-fil-A on 281 in Evans. The store was closed, but Fallon begged the staff to use the bathroom.
I didn't know I was going to have a baby in there. I was going to the restroom.
By the time she made it to the bathroom, baby Gracelyn was ready to make a grand entrance.
I'm about to dial 911. I opened the door, and then she's just screaming.
Manager Brenda Enriquez yelled for Robert, and that's when Dad became doctor.
We're going to do something great, but we're going to do it right here, and we're going to do it right now.
And I just had no hesitation.
Shocking, since both mom and baby were extremely high risk during the entire pregnancy.
I stopped her at her shoulders because I saw what looked to be like a white collar around her neck, and it was the cord had been wrapped around her neck twice.
He managed to get it off, saving his daughter's life.
I delivered her at 10:30.
So strange to me to hear, sorry. My husband delivered my baby. And then maybe a little bit less than 10 minutes, the EMS and EMT were here.